Pierce.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back, everyone, to another show on a sunny but chilling Saturday.
It is a bit cold, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's been getting cold recently.
Yes. And what does that make us think about?
Makes us think about the snow, of course.
Yes. What's Stanthorpe doing again?
They are predicting that we are going to get some snowfall next week. Again, I think every year since it actually did snow once in Stanthorpe, they have predicted it's going to snow, and it hasn't.
Yeah. And I think actually, like, that year they didn't predict snow.
Yeah.
So they just sort of packed up, gave up, and it's not going to snow.
And finally, now that they've started doing it again, it's not going to happen. Yeah. Until I think the next time they don't predict snow.
Yeah, or maybe that's the key to is just not predicting snow.
Not predicting snow.
Yeah.
And it'll happen.
Yeah. And big thanks to Paul, who brought you through to 12.
Yes, of course, apart from the chilling weather, not a lot has happened since our last show, unless, of course, you can think of anything.
Yeah, I did want to talk about the solar eclipse that happened last week.
Oh, yes, there was a solar eclipse. I completely forgot about that.
Because it wasn't very memorable.
Yeah.
You know, like, I saw a couple of our friends' Instagram stories and things like that, and they're sitting there, like, all rugged up together with some cheese platters, and they're all having a nice time looking at a big shadow on the moon.
I was probably passed out on my bed at that point from exhaustion after coming home from work.
Yeah. I mean, I went out and saw it, but I was probably out there outside for like a multiple of 5 seconds.
Yeah.
2 seconds to find it, 1 second to go,
it's not that
and then
cool.
2 seconds to go back inside. It's not that interesting. Apart from that, I don't think much else has really happened. Yeah.
Make sure to stay tuned for the next. We'll be taking you through the next 3 hours. We've got plenty of great music and maybe a couple of interesting tidbits to talk about along the way.
Actually, coming up very soon, maybe at around 20 past, our tuckshop is up to no good.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit of a canteen mystery going
What's
on.
That? I guess you'll have to find out.
This is Ned and Pierce on Rose City FM 89.3, and this is Foreigner Urgent. Jimmy Barnes' Bird on a Wire, requested by Pete, who also shared our opinions on the solar eclipse.
Yeah, he also thought it was not actually that impressive.
And he had an interesting book and a bottle of rum to attend to, he reckoned.
Way more important than that solar eclipse. Now, we mentioned earlier that our tuck shop was up to something.
Yes. It's kind of like a canteen conspiracy. Tuck shop treason?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I put it.
Foodie fugitives.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But recently our canteen has been upping the prices.
Yeah, and it's not recently. Like, when we started back in 2016 at our high school, Caesar wraps were like $3.50, I reckon.
$3.50.
Yep. They've slowly ramped up, and now they're $5.
That's a whole $1.50 increase. That puts quite a dent in your daily tuck shop money.
Yeah, especially if you're going to the tuck shop daily. And they do have $2 sandwiches, and that's because they're legally forced to have those there.
Yeah. If that wasn't there, they would probably increase the price of that too.
Exactly.
Now, why are they doing this?
Now, we recently, after getting very angry about the $5 wraps and shrinking sizes of these wraps as well.
Pierce is a big fan of the Caesar wraps.
Delicious, like Parmesan, Caesar salad.
I think I've seen Pierce eat a maximum of like 3 of them in one day before. A big fan of the Caesar wraps.
They are good. But no, we're not happy about this. This is $5, literally. So 3 of them in one day, that's $15 altogether. It's an absolute waste of money.
Now, recently we have a friend who is kind of in
the know about these things.
Know about with these
school captain at our school.
He's been quite cryptic about the reason why the tuck shop is raising its prices.
Now, he's a good friend of ours, but that may change depending on whose side he is.
We're putting out a bit of a threat out there.
No, and it's sort of like a deep conspiracy. We're starting to realise that this could actually be very deep. Like, it spirals off in many different directions.
Yes, it's the PNC's involved, the principal's involved, our friend's involved. Maybe we don't know. We don't know what he does after school.
Exactly. We need to see how deep and far this rabbit hole goes.
I really like to play with the idea in my head that there's a big tuck shop mafia out there. Me and another mate were talking about this the other day. What if it's a big ring, like an Australia-wide ring, and it's
Australia-wide, and there's one person at the very top of it.
There's one person.
Maybe it's our mate.
It might be. It might be our friend.
Yeah. I think we've said his name on air before.
Yeah.
Liam Gow.
We probably have.
Yeah, sorry, Liam, we're going to put you in the thick of it. If you have anything to do with this, you're now in trouble.
Yeah. But I guess...
I wonder if Well, I mean, yeah. So this is all that we know for now.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep everyone posted.
Investigating into this.
Yes.
See what we find.
Keep everyone
See
posted.
what we uncover.
Yeah. Pay attention to Rose City FM 89.3.
This is Ned and Pierce.
Ava Max with Who's Laughing Now. Now, in that short break there we had with music, Peter, of course, called in again to tell us more of the details of his interesting night.
Yeah, so it turns out he wasn't overly worried about the interesting book that he was reading and the can of rum that he had in his room. He was interested when he heard his wife call out, "Peter, come back to bed." So, Peter, I think what we're going to do now is make your night into a story.
Naturally, yes, we're very interested in the story of Peter's night.
So if you want to keep calling through the show, at the end we'll wrap your story up and we'll make a little narrative to read out on air. If you enjoy that, please keep calling 4661 8989. But you surely already know that because you've called twice already.
Of course. Welcome back to another edition of Ned and Pierce's Odd News from around the globe. Tonight, we start with a local story as a 111-year-old Australian man has revealed that, among other things, eating chicken brains is one of the major secrets to a long life. I don't know about you, Pierce, but that sounds clucking weird.
And delicious. A man over in the UK was left pink-faced, that'll make sense very soon, after he was filmed stealing a flamingo from the front yard of a local resident in broad daylight. The video went viral in the local area with over 60,000 people having viewed the theft, and after a relative of the man showed him the video, he felt it was time to fess up, stating he was very sorry and claiming that he didn't remember doing it and that he was very drunk at the time. But then I've seen the video. The man carefully creeps up to the fence, snatches it and sneakily tiptoes away. The truth is, he just wanted that flamingo.
He definitely just wanted that flamingo. French police are investigating a ring of toy thieves, so I guess this is somewhat related to your story. With a particular affinity for Lego bricks, it is unclear why the colourful thieves are stealing them, although it is believed to be to resell the limited series to collectors. This really sounds like the building blocks of a new toy mafia.
Damn it. A Liverpool drug dealer found himself in a bit of fondue when he was jailed for 13 years in prison after his fingerprints were analysed from a photo of a block of cheese. The drug dealer had taken the picture of a recently purchased block of cheese in his hand, foolishly allowing his fingerprints to be seen in the photo as well. The incident, no doubt, really has 39-year-old Stuart of Gem Street, Liverpool, a little bit cheesed off.
I was a big fan of the fondue joke, Pierce. Good one on that.
Thank you very much.
And a man who lost complete control of his bodily functions during a job interview, leaving the boss confused and disgusted at the terrible mess left behind, has gone online to joke that he didn't get the job, unfortunately.
It's not something you'll find in 101, Interviews 101. And a Kazakhstan, I'm a little bit worried about this one, this is a bit edgy. And a Kazakhstani bodybuilder who married his sex doll is now open to dating humans as long as they like his doll too. The man took the internet by storm last November when he married his sex doll Margot after dating for only 8 months. He also admitted to cheating on her with a strange object and a supermarket chicken while she was getting plastic surgery over Christmas. However, the biggest thing standing in their way in their relationship was just a lack of communication.
Interesting. That's it for tonight's edition of Odd News from Around the Globe. Make sure to stay tuned because up next it's Avicii, a personal favourite of mine and Pierce's, with one of his newest songs, Bad Reputation. That's all from us tonight. Good night, Warwick.
This is Ned and Pierce.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the hottest radio game show. I'm your host, Pierce. Now, my buddy Ned has a very messy room, so I want to know, does he actually have any idea of what's in there? Probably not. The rules are simple. I take one item from Ned's room, and with the occasional hint from me, Ned gets 3 guesses to figure out what that item is, and if he doesn't, well, it's mine. So without further ado, it's time to find out what did Pierce steal from Ned's room?
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is the most exciting radio game show.
I know, it's my favourite part of the week.
Yeah, when I get to keep something from your room. Now, Ned, I'm starting
it's
to
not happening this time.
Well, it didn't happen last time either. Yeah. But I'm starting to get a little bit suspicious because you have allocated only one shelf to me. And this week I noticed something that was almost sort of like it was asking me to take it. So I feel like you're planting things now in order for you to get them.
Pierce, I have tried to look at that shelf and remember things, but I have definitely not tried to
Placed
sabotage the integrity of this game show we've got.
Well, I don't know, because this one, the thing that I took, it sort of is something you'd expect me to take.
All right, well...
But yeah, we'll get into it. Your first clue, Ned, is much like last time. This is something that Elon Musk definitely has in his possession.
So I'm thinking Elon Musk is a bit of a nerdy guy, and I've got a couple of things you might consider nerdy on my shelf.
Yeah.
But I don't think that narrows it down far enough yet.
All right, okay.
Let's have another clue.
He'd probably enjoy it as well. So, while appearing at face value as a rectangle, it's also a circle.
Okay. Something that appears at face value as a rectangle is also... I don't think I have any objects that break the laws of physics on my shelf. Right, can we have another clue, please?
The last clue. Couldn't think of another clue, so I got to think of this one on the spot. I probably won't. I don't want it.
You don't want it.
But I thought it'd be funny to steal.
So
there's three of them.
There's three of them. Okay, it wasn't what I thought, because first thing I was thinking was I have a Stedford trophy for the piano, and it's got a square base with a circular globe on.
Oh yeah, fair enough. But I said rectangle.
That is not it, though.
All right,
and there's three of them.
Yeah, that's all your clues. I'm pretty sure.
All right, just give me 1 second as probing my mind.
Yep.
See if I can think of anything.
I've dropped them on the ground.
I'm completely clueless, Pierce.
Absolutely.
Reveal to me what the item is.
It is your 3 copies of Matt Damon's The Martian.
Matt Damon's The Martian.
Which you are now losing. You will never be able to watch Matt Damon's The Martian ever again.
No.
It is now mine. I'm not going to watch it.
As to why I own 3 copies of The Martian, that's a completely different story that we'll get into some other show.
You just thought it was going to be a funny bit.
But for now, I guess that's the end.
I'll be honest, when I saw the trailers for this movie, it looked really boring.
Yeah. I guess
Did you watch it?
No, I haven't. I guess I've lost my 3 copies of The Martian.
Tough gig, Ned. Coming up, we do have Ned's Occurrence, which I'm looking forward to. Very spooky. Yes. And you reckon this one's a doozy, isn't it?
I do.
What will I steal next from Ned's room?
This is Ned and Pierce.
That was scary.
Ned's Occurrences from around the world.
I smell a mystery.
It's a mystery.
Welcome back to Ned's Occurrence from around the globe.
Hello.
Now, last week we took a little bit of a breather. We had a more gentle mystery.
Oh, that was the gooey.
That was the gooey
gumdrops.
This week we get straight back into it with the disappearance of Cynthia Anderson. In August of 1981, Cynthia Anderson began a new chapter of her life. She was a quiet, fairly popular church-going girl, her family being heavily religious. She worked as a legal secretary at a strip mall in Toledo, Ohio, but was planning on quitting to attend Bible school. It was at this strip mall that things began to go awry. I Love You, Cindy, Cindy being an abbreviation for Cynthia, was painted in large letters across from Cynthia's office window with the attached initials GW.
I've heard this one.
Yeah, I've heard this one.
Yep.
Well, then you might know where this one's going.
Yeah.
This would last for 6 months before being removed, but was replaced a few weeks later in even larger letters. Cynthia began to be harassed by phone call after phone call, to the point where the owner of the law firm ordered her to keep the doors locked at all times and installed a panic button under her desk. On August 4th of 1981, Cynthia would show up to work at around 9:30. At noon, the owner would visit the building. All of the machinery had been left on, including radios and the printer. There was a strong smell of nail polish in the air. The door was still locked from the inside. However, Cynthia had disappeared. Her car was still in the parking lot, but her purse and keys were gone. A romance novel she had been reading was still open on the desk, on a page that described the protagonist being abducted at knife point. Had you heard that bit, Pierce?
Yeah.
I thought you would like that bit. It makes it a bit more
cool. Well, I mean, it's not cool.
It's not cool,
but
obviously, but it's like that little creepy coincidence. Why was it open there?
Well, maybe I think the stalker or the abductor probably did it.
Yeah, some people think that, but then it's been brought up that the abductor would have to sit there and read through the book first if they didn't know the book already. Which I guess it's possible they did.
Stalker,
if it's a stalker,
then,
they may know what she was reading at the time.
Yeah, and they've probably already read it.
Probably. But yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a cool, creepy coincidence. It's also important to note that Cynthia's panic button had not been pressed. Police would look into the initial GW, which turned up a lead to a man with those initials. However, it was confirmed that this was actually meant for a different Cynthia. So that was also a coincidence. I think they confirmed that this I love you Cynthia was for a different Cynthia.
Some guy had proposed just a few blocks down.
I think that was pretty much what happened, yeah. A month after Cynthia's disappearance, a woman rang the police in a hushed and scared voice and claimed that Cynthia was being held in a white house. There were 2 neighbouring houses owned by the same family, and the woman claimed that the son was the one holding Cynthia hostage. This, however, turned up no leads. In a later drug case, a dealer admitted to killing Cynthia Anderson. However, this was found to be a lie as well.
What did he do that for?
No idea. Now, I know you're laughing at this. This is actually not that uncommon for people to admit to murders they didn't commit in court. I don't know why or how, because it seems like you'd just be making things worse for yourself.
Yeah.
But it's actually happened
quite
a few times.
Unnecessary attention to himself, like the drug dealer with the cheese block from the odd news.
Tacking things on to their sentence. I don't know why, but it happens a lot, actually, in cases. It's very weird. In the end, however, no one except for a scarce few know what happened to Cynthia Anderson. We may never know the events that took place on the fateful day of August 4th, 1981. And unless someone comes forward with new evidence, we never will.
This is Ned and Pierce.
John Stevens, Rain Down on Me. It's 2:30 at the moment, and we've got a bit of a thing to continue on with it. A couple of weird phone calls, interesting phone calls that we got at the start of our first half hour by a guy named Peter.
Telling us about his night.
Yes. The solar eclipse that happened last week.
Oh, yes, there was a solar eclipse. I completely forgot about that.
Because it wasn't very memorable.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a couple of our friends' Instagram stories and things like that, and they're sitting there, like, all rugged up together with some cheese platters, and they're all having a nice time looking at a big shadow on the moon.
I was probably passed out on my bed at that point from exhaustion after coming home from work.
Yeah. I mean, I went out and saw it, but I was probably outside for like a multiple of 5 seconds.
Yeah,
2 seconds to find it, 1 second to go,
it's not that
and then
cool.
2 seconds to go back inside. It's not that interesting. Jimmy Barnes, Bird on a Wire, requested by Pete, who also shared our opinions on the solar eclipse.
Yeah, he also thought it was not actually that impressive.
And he had an interesting book and a bottle of rum to attend to, he reckoned.
Way more important than that solar eclipse. Ava Max with Who's Laughing Now. Now, in that short break there we had with music, Peter, of course, called in again to tell us more of the details of his interesting night.
Yeah, so it turns out he wasn't overly worried about the interesting book that he was reading and the can of rum that he had in his room. He was interested when he heard his wife call out, "Peter, come back to bed." So, Peter, I think what we're going to do now is make your night into a story.
Naturally, yes, we're very interested in the story of Peter's night.
And after that, I think we scared him off. He didn't call back.
But we have written Peter's night into a nice little story, a bit of English practice as our Year 12 English exams draw closer.
Yeah, our English exam is on a short story, so we've gotten a chance to practice that a bit.
And so we will read that out after
Avicii, which was requested by Chimmy Chu, from another member of the Albert Street Boys.
Yeah.
It's Avicii here on Rose City FM 89.3. That one was, for Chimmy Chu, member of the Albert Street Boys. Geez, they've really taken over the airwaves today, haven't they?
They have requested a few songs by now. But we do have our story on Peter's night, and we will not keep you in waiting.
Of course not.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, it was a dark, moonlit night. The night of the infamous solar eclipse. But that didn't worry Peter.
Peter was a nice man who enjoyed calling the local radio station every now and then. He had left an interesting book and a can of rum to wander outside to see what all the moonlit fuss was about. And as it turned out, there was not that much fuss at all.
Just as Peter began to miss his rum and interesting novel, he heard a jarring sound escape from his house. "Peter, come back to bed."
It was his wife.
"Coming, honey," returned Peter. He so wished he could finish his rum and his good book, but when the wife calls, he must answer. Walking to his bed, he sadly passed his rum and book. How he wished he could have had one last moment with them.
He was greeted warmly by his wife to slowly drift off to sleep, to dream of rivers running brown with rum and mountains of novels just waiting to be read.
Suddenly, his dreams of brown, luscious, flowing rivers of rum were cut short with the startling realization that Peter didn't have a wife. And that's the end of our cool little story there.
We do have another song from the Albert Street Boys who specifically, Mozzie in specific, who asked to play something trippy and has gone for Glycerin.
Yeah, so this is it, boys. Here we go. It's got a bit of a long intro on it. It's very quiet.
Yes.
Here we are. Bush Glycerine here on Rosity FM 89.3, going out to this Albert Street Boys.
Yes. Unfortunately, that brings us to the end of our show.
That's right. We still looked at the Canteen Conspiracy, where there could be a mafia mystery going on.
Yes, there could be something there. Straight after that, I unfortunately lost my 3 copies of The Martian to you, Pierce.
Yes, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not that interested in it. We also wrapped up listener Peter's mysterious solar eclipse story.
Yes.
No, it's a lunar eclipse, actually. We've just been informed.
Yes. And it looks like Peter's set up in the next room, so he'll be taking you through to 6 o'clock tonight.
And a bit of a shout out to the Albert Street Boys, who have described themselves as avid listeners. So thanks for keeping us company, boys.
And to end off that show, as always, it is Rock Lobster. See you next week, Warwick.
This is Ned and Pierce.